Hi, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery in Indianapolis, Indiana.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Southgate, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk.
Hey guys, we've loved answering all of your questions so far. If you'd like to hear your question on the podcast, please send them to us on Instagram at Wheel Talk Podcast or by email to wheeltalkpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks.
Hello.
All right. Hello. We're live.
We're live. Guess what? This is the first week that I'm in my van and I'm not at somebody's house. I'm in a parking lot and our Skype is working fine.
You're like completely remote right now.
Completely remote, and this should be the parking lot that I go to every time we do a recording. So, yay for service.
How are you going to do that every time you go to record? You mean when you're in whatever city you're in right now?
Right, whenever I'm in Indy. Yeah.
Okay.
Because this is now my parking lot.
Okay. I'm guessing you know a person?
I know a person. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to be recording in your studio, but you would have had to move a bunch of shit, I'm sure, with the mic and the computer and all that stuff, and if other people are in there.
Sarah was like, you can record in here if you want, and I was like, yeah, but then I have to go get the mic and like attach it, and honestly, the mic needs to stay in here anyway. I broke the stand already, which was coming,
yeah, you
but
cannot
now
disconnect the mic anymore. It is mounted. I mean, you can take it off, but there's no stand with that mic, so it'd be a little jank if you had to.
Yeah, so it was like screwed on with one of those, like a C-clamp to the table, but the thing that it was screwed onto was plastic. So like the mount that it screws onto is plastic. And so I tried to move it while I was driving and then broke it. And then
you tried to move it while you were driving?
Don't worry about it.
Because it's mounted like right behind your seat, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, so it's mounted right behind my seat. And then it broke, and then so just now I just screwed in 2 screws through the mount into the table.
Oh my god.
So
you're like, this thing's not going in. You're trying to duct tape route. I don't know how good that would be.
I was trying the duct tape route. It didn't work. And so I finally just took out my drill and just drilled it straight through.
Oh my
gosh. And also I lost the headphone cord to my headphones, and I'm sure they're somewhere safe. As is everything.
I was asking you
life.
earlier, do you use your headphones for other stuff on a regular basis?
I use my AirPods, but not those headphones. Those are my podcast headphones.
Okay.
I don't use those headphones at all unless it's a podcast.
Oh, okay.
And so
yeah, it seems like they would have a nice home when they're not being used.
They're usually hooked up to the microphone. They're like hanging over the microphone. So now they're not hanging over the microphone since they got flung off. and who knows even where the headphone
It's probably
cable
just
is.
Like a 3.5 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter, right? It's like male to male.
For sure. I can find another one, but in the moment we didn't know where it was. But this is good because we found out that my AirPods can actually work for this, which is much preferable because those headphones make my ears hurt.
I'm sure they're more comfortable than having the... Yeah. You have the on-ear headphones, right?
Yeah, and they're fucking terrible. Like...
I never liked those. Like, I have these Beats that I got with my phone when I got the visible phone.
Yeah.
And they're on-ear, and they feel like they're just, like, suction cup to my head.
Yeah, they like smush your earlobes, and it's fucking terrible.
And I have glasses on too, so it just shoves my ears into my glasses.
It's the worst. Thank you for reminding me I need to wear my glasses. It's the worst. Absolute worst.
Yeah. I mean, the only time I wear them is... Actually, I did figure out the AirPods. I shrunk the ear cap things, and they fit my ears much better. They don't fall out, so...
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Apparently, I have the tiniest ears, and I need the smallest rubber caps on the.
I definitely
Or
have
else
the
they fall
tiniest
out.
ears, and the smallest rubber caps are even too big for me. So.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just hate when I'm using. Like I'm trying to like walk to the post office and they just fall out of my ears. Like it's not fun. So
Yeah.
that's when I usually wear the Beats to get to the post office, and then if I'm, for some reason I'm cutting the grass or something, and I don't want to risk them falling out of my ears on the grass. So
You know what? I think that I would probably wear the Beats ones when I was cutting the grass. For the
yeah,
same reason.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, both of them are noise canceling, but something suction cup to your ears, like it'll be a little bit better. So
Yeah. Um.
so where are you? How did the travels go? We haven't talked on recording very recently because we've been interviewing people and we haven't done a
Yeah.
little early chatting, but you're in
Yeah, we've
Indy
had a
now.
lot of interviews. Yeah, I'm in Indianapolis. I just got here on Sunday, and it's Thursday. Um, the travels went really, really well. I took it slow on the way here. Other than the Kansas drive, like going through most of Kansas, you don't really, you just gotta power through. But the second day, I found like a really nice gas station, and I got a fried strawberry pie for breakfast, and that just
Fried
started.
strawberry pie? Like a
Yeah,
rhubarb pie or something?
no, it was just strawberry, and it just started my day off right, you know,
Huh. You
like.
never hear about strawberry pie. I hear about cherry pie, apple pie. I've never actually heard of strawberry pie.
Right? I know. And I asked the girl, I was like, hey, what's your favorite? And she goes, definitely the strawberry. And I was like, okay, that's what we're going to do.
Wow.
It was like eating
Okay.
jam in a pastry. It was so fucking good. And that like started my day off right. And then
Huh.
I went to St. Louis and met a friend there, and then like walked around the sculpture park with Lloyd on a leash, and
Right.
then like kind of like went around and looked at some of the buildings at night and the arches. It was really nice.
Yeah, the
So
arch has a big park underneath it, right? It's just a big green space.
yeah, but I couldn't figure out how to get exactly there. Like looked like the road was blocked off, so I didn't try too hard, but I got a really
Oh,
good
okay.
view of the arches, and yeah, it was super like relaxing. And the next morning I woke up and I was positioned right next to a lake on purpose, and like we walked around the lake a little bit and then ate some food, and
Nice.
it was great. Like that's how I feel like van life should be, like those last 2 days. And now here we are with very little
Did
money
you
and parking in a parking lot.
right. Would you have gone up in the arch? Or have you gone up in the arch before?
You can go in the arch.
Yeah, they have. Well, I mean, I haven't gone since I was like 12 or something, but yeah, they have little pods at the base of each side, and then they like shuttle you up to the top, and you could be in the very top and like look down.
Shut up. That's so cool.
Yeah, they got little viewing ports, kind of like if have you ever been to the Washington Monument?
No. But I've been to the Statue of Liberty, but I haven't been up at the top.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But
Washington
I
Monument's
imagine
kind of
it's the
similar.
same
It's
thing.
just got little. It's got like an elevator that goes up, and then they got little viewing ports at the top, and you can just like look out. It's kind of like that,
That's
except
cool.
it's in an arch, so they got to go up like at an angle.
Oh, that's really cool.
So I hadn't been up there in a long time, but yeah, it's kind of trippy because you're up there, and it feels like it's moving because it's so like high
Yeah.
up.
It probably is moving.
It probably is swaying a little bit,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's crazy.
but yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm back at my studio, and we're still kind of like figuring out the routine, especially with Lloyd. Babs is my easy child, obviously, but like I asked my landlord, I was like, "Are you okay if like the cat just roams around outside?" And he was like, "No, there's dogs out there, and I don't want the cat to be killed." And I was like, "Fine."
What dogs are out there?
I don't know. I don't know what dogs are there, but it's fine. I'll figure it out.
But
But-
he's in the studio and whatnot, right?
Yeah, I took him in the studio. It's just really hard to get him to the studio. It's really a really stressful ride to the studio, like up the stairs through all the noises. Once we get to the studio, it's
Oh,
fine. Yeah, but it's a pretty
yeah,
stressful ride. And then once we get to the studio, there's Pip. So, a
right.
dog.
Pretty much every time you go in the studio, because Sarah's in there
Yeah.
getting ready for Ensika stuff.
Yeah, so and Pip and Lloyd have been doing okay. Better than I thought. So,
Okay. Does Babs go in there
today
with you, or does she just chill in the van?
no. Babs just chills in the van because she's the perfect cat. Um like yesterday I went to Deanna's house and it's in a neighborhood, so Lloyd just got to run around, you know? And
Yeah.
Babs did not even leave the fucking van. She was like, "I'm good." Like the door was open the whole day.
Oh, really? That's
And
funny.
she was just sitting in the door. Like she's like, "No, thank you. I'm good." Yeah. And I
Okay.
and
Lloyd's like every time you get out, he's trying to like join you.
yes. Yes. Like every time I stop, he wants to get out of the van. Today he spent the
You
whole day in the
cannot.
van. So, um
Okay.
just
So you did Denver. I was just looking it up on. So Denver to Indy is about 16 hours. So you did it over like 3 days.
yeah, and I felt like that was really good. You know.
Kansas is such a long trek there.
I know, like you have to do most of it in the first bit and then like Kansas to St. Louis to here wasn't that bad. Kansas City to St. Louis to here.
Right.
So,
Yeah, St. Louis is pretty much like halfway point there for you. So from Kansas City.
yeah. Yeah, so I felt like it was really enjoyable. I also got a rice maker, which I'm really excited about. So,
I saw
it's
that. I was surprised. You said you weren't going to go with any appliances. You got a rice maker.
I changed my mind.
Okay. Did you think that would like that made your list, or was it somebody had it and they gave it to you? So you're
No,
like,
no, no.
that sounds cool.
It's a 200 watt rice maker, so it's like really low energy and it's like 12 volt. So,
You mean 120 volt?
oh no, it's 120 volt. I lied. Yeah, but it's like
200 watt. Okay, so
it's
a
like really
microwave is like 700 watts for like the base level. 200 watts
yeah.
not that much.
Yeah, it's the lowest wattage rice cooker I could find. And I figured that I mean rice and beans, man. Rice and beans.
Rice and beans, beans and rice.
Rice and beans, beans and rice. Anyway, enough about me. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm getting ready for Ensika stuff. Been doing some house projects. We've been building the tiki bar the last
I've seen.
probably week or so. That's been fun. It was one of those projects where Rachel makes a list of all the projects, and typically she marks some for me to assist with. The tiki bar was not one that she had me assisting with, and it would not have went well probably with all the measurements and the specifics with all the wood.
She said when I was like, "Wow, he's helping," she was like, "Yeah, he wasn't supposed to help, but then he saw me mathing and couldn't help himself."
Yeah, and I learned some new stuff like some of the joints like button up two by fours without screwing them in. So it was kind of like screwing them in flat instead of upright. It was kind of interesting. So I learned some new stuff there, and it's actually not that expensive with the wood and everything. It's not too bad. The
That's good.
countertop adds on to it, but we'll get the
Yeah,
countertop on soon. But we'll have most of it done for Ensika when people come visit and all that good stuff, and
that'll be
looking
great.
forward to getting it complete. It's one of those where I'm sure Rachel's had this vision of what it looks like, but slowly getting to see, and we'll have tons of storage, and it'll be nice once it's complete.
Yeah, that'll be great.
So that's been most of the happenings. Let's see, I've just been throwing some new stuff. I'm always throwing some new stuff. I feel like I'm slowing down a little bit with like I'm pretty stocked up on a lot of work, so that's been
Yeah.
pretty nice. And I'm just kind of restocking Bisqueware now. And I did a restock recently. I sold a few things, not a ton, but I was really just trying to get a good amount of inventory on there because I was out of mugs and most like oil bottles and stuff. So got some new work online, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, Insika is gonna be nuts, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Are you taking
When's
all
next
those
week?
days off?
Yeah, I took Tuesday through Friday off.
Okay. Okay, good.
We won't start going to the conference until Wednesday, but I figure we'll be doing stuff, and
I
Jody
do
will
have
get
a
here on Tuesday.
yeah, I do have a question though. Does it when do the like sales open in the marketplace area?
For the gallery expo
I don't
or
know.
in the vendor hall.
The vendor hall, is that Wednesday? Because it very unclear.
I want to say it is open Wednesday.
Okay, because it's very
Because
unclear in the directory.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. The directory on the app doesn't say the vendor hall hours in the schedule.
That's great.
I think it says it on the website if you were to look, because they have like the
Okay.
paper guide. I think
Okay.
it says it in there.
I looked
I know
at the
Tuesday
PDF
they're getting
guide
set
and-
up. I think Monday, Tuesday the vendors are getting set up. So I think Wednesday is the first day that the vendors are open.
Okay, maybe I'll ask Link. She should be able to tell me. Okay, sounds good. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
that's
once I
pretty
looked
fun.
at it like twice and I was like, I can't even fucking tell. I
What
was
were
like,
what were you looking at? Were you looking at like talks you wanted to see, or
no, I have to. I
what
am on
vendors were
a.
there?
I'm on a mission to get a wheel from somebody. One of my friends in Indianapolis was like, "Hey, like which wheel should I get?" And I was like, "You should get him an Exika so you can get a better price." And she's like, "I'm not going." And I was like, "I got you." So I'm like on a mission to get a wheel, and to get like a floor model. So I'm gonna be there like immediately in the morning,
Okay.
ready to go.
Well, I mean, it depends on what kind of wheel you're going for. I do know some people at Speedball. If you're willing to do that, if she's cost conscious, I'm sure she could get one of those if she wants. I don't know. Is it her first wheel ever?
No, but it's her first like. Oh, actually don't know if it's her first wheel ever, but it's her first like home wheel, and she knows how to throw. It's not like she doesn't know how to throw. She's just always done it in like studios.
Is she
So
in this
she-
for the business or for
I do need to
hobby?
kind of like talk to her about that, but her obviously she'd like to play as little as possible, but she's in it for like business hobby. I would say like hobby
This is a
right
good discussion
now-
point for people out there, but it's going to be after Insika by the time this releases. But if
Yeah.
people are in the market, so what do you mean by business hobby?
I would say like she really is doing like a lot of 2D work right now, but she's been doing pottery for a long time as well, and she like sold at the farmers market next to me in Lawrence this year, and but she didn't do
She
much
sells
more
pottery next to you, or she sells
yeah,
okay.
pottery. And oh man, my light went out.
Yeah, all I can see is the glow of your glasses. Maybe
I'm-
up your brightness on your screen.
Oh, that's a good idea. Is that better?
There we go. That's
Okay.
better.
That was awkward. So, anyway, so, yeah, so she's like, I would say that she's kind of in the sense of, she wants to get into it more. It's important for her to get into it more, but, and she's like getting a house, so it's gonna be her first like wheel in her own space. But I do know that she definitely wants to like keep it for a long time. She wants it to be like a long
A
time wheel.
workhorse, yeah.
So, but doesn't necessarily want to pay like, maybe she doesn't necessarily want to pay like Brent.
$900 for a wheel.
No, Brents are like 1,500, and
But would she be willing to spend like 900 if you're
Yeah,
there?
like-
You could probably get 2 or 3 different wheels.
right. So I am gonna check out Brent's first. Her max is like $1,500.
Oh, that's plenty of
I know that's plenty, but I think she'd really enjoy spending less than $1,000. And
Okay.
I was like, well, does a Shimpo light sound okay? And she's like, yeah, they're fine, except for when you make big stuff, and that's fine if I'm not going to make a ton of big stuff, So
But what's the real limitation on a VL light
it's
on a
25
Shimpo?
pounds.
Is she actively making anything 25 pounds?
I think that she has made
Or
things that are
aspirations
25
too?
pounds, but I would say not actively,
Okay.
like every once in a while. And I was thinking like a Shimpo Whisper would be nice. I know a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
with Whispers really love them. So,
If I got a brand new wheel, I wouldn't mind a Whisper. Like I threw on a Whisper when I first learned, and it was amazing. And the
yeah.
stopping power of those,
Yeah, they stop fast.
and the foot pedal
Yeah.
is usually so smooth. I mean, the foot pedal is not the main thing, but I always feel like it's very reactive.
Yeah.
The Shimpo Whisper.
Definitely. So I figured I'd look at the Shimpo Whisper, and if Brents are like 1100, I'd probably get her a Brent. But I mean, like,
What Brent B?
probably.
Yeah, I feel like once you get up to the C's and CXCs, like those are going to be 1500 plus probably.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to get one that was like super expensive, but also I think that like it's one of those things where like if you get a Shimpo Whisper, it's going to last you a good fucking long time if you treat it right,
One
Even
other
if you get a
option
Shimpo light.
One other option you could think of is I don't know if Link, if they're doing demos at Dirty Girl Tools, but they might have a wheel there that you might not think like, okay, they're not a wheel manufacturer, but they have wheels that they sell. Like they might have a Brent, and then they would sell it their demo wheel.
That's a good idea.
Or
I'm
like Queen City
demoing for
Clay
her.
has Queen City
Yeah.
Clay has 3 booths. And they might have some, I don't know if they have demos, but they have tools and glazes and like all kinds of stuff and teaching resources. So
Yeah.
they might have somebody demoing, and then they might have a wheel.
Yeah. And I am demoing for Link.
Oh,
I
you
think.
are? Are you throwing?
I think so. I don't know. I messaged her. We're kind of like on the same page of like not knowing anything. I
Have you messaged her in the last like week or so?
Yeah. I messaged her
Oh,
and
okay.
was like, hey, it's been a while since we talked, but did you want me to throw for you? And she's like, oh, yeah. Do you need a ticket? I don't have any more to give. And I'm like, no, I don't need a ticket. She's like, great.
So nothing more than that. You'll just like stop by and you'll be like, all right, what time do you want to come and stop by and throw?
Yeah, I'll probably send her a message on like Monday.
That's kind of what we did. I threw for her at, I think in Minneapolis maybe.
Yeah, it was Minneapolis for sure.
And it was very sporadic. It
Yeah.
was like, when's Jason Burnett going to be at the booth? And I was at the booth at a similar time. We just kind of ad hoc. They didn't do a full schedule of come see these people at this time. It's like, hey, what time do you want to be here? And
Right.
there you go. You might have an in there. If you're throwing on the wheel, you might have a priority there for that wheel.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny because I feel like I know everybody that's demoing. Like you're demoing, Rebecca's demoing, Diana's demoing, like fucking everybody's demoing that we know.
Isaac's doing some stuff at Diamond Core. I saw he's doing some
Yeah.
sanding, I think.
Sell out.
Sell
I'm
out.
kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding.
You're gonna try their carving tools for something someday, and you're gonna be like, oh,
I have
never
one
the
of their
sanding
carving
pads,
tools.
But the carving tools.
I
Do you?
have one of
What
their
do you-
carving tools.
What do you use it for?
I think I bought it like back in the day. Like literally I think I bought it in Minneapolis. And
Oh, really?
all I ever used it for was cutting the line from the hole of the planter to the outside of the planter.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is good for that, but I mean, when that's the only thing you use it for, you can find alternatives than something that's going to be on the bottom of a pot
Yeah.
that's not
Maybe
even
I'll
going to be seen.
maybe I'll use them for like, I don't know, like some lines and some cups. I've been thinking up new shapes and stuff for cups and stuff, but
Would you
yeah.
ever consider carving to get that tactile feel besides just like the
That's what I was
dots?
thinking. That's what I was thinking, like lines. I could do lines.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And then you could,
yeah.
I don't know if experimenting with putting underglaze inside lines, if that would do
Right.
something interesting.
I was thinking about that, and maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll come to terms with Diamond Core, and maybe we'll make friends or something. I don't know.
And then they'll go back to your catalog of comments you've made over the years.
Yeah.
But that could be the best story though. Like, hey, we got her.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm a pretty stubborn person, but I don't like to hold grudges. So.
The thing is, you'll meet the people and you'll be like, these people are so nice. Like,
I know. Well, the Diamond Core booth is always so fucking busy. I'm not even going to be able to get up there anyway.
it's a huge booth.
Yeah.
Freaking massive.
Anyway, yeah. So rice cooker and tiki bar, we are doing really well. I feel like.
Yep. And we'll be seeing each other next week. Well, here in just a few days actually, but
Yeah. I'm gonna bring up my little mini kiln, see if I can sell some earrings. I gotta make some type of money at Insika. So
yeah. You need to let people know before it gets crazy the week of, because once it hits the week of, people are not gonna.
okay.
They're gonna be so busy to be like, how much are you checking your phone during the day at Insika, like trying to find info? Like, there's so much going on, you just can't
That's fair.
keep up. But you could say you'll be bringing them on Thursday.
Yeah, I think that
At
I'll
the
make the
meetup or
majority of
something.
my money on Thursday at our meet and greet.
Yeah.
In my Rubbermaid containers. I'm
There you
doing
go.
I'm doing a literal I'm doing a literal pop up at the Imposter.
I'm sure you could like tag on the end of Isaac's table or something if you really had to.
No. I'm gonna
But
do
he's
it
in the
my
other
way.
room, so
Yeah.
yeah.
You should bring some cups too. Seriously though.
I probably won't.
Just
I don't want to worry about keeping track of something. I would rather be
okay, but
free, have my hands free.
bring the Wheel Talk mugs.
Oh, what am I gonna do with those though?
We'll sell them at the meetup.
I mean, maybe.
Just
I would
throw
love to
'em.
sell them. I just don't want to carry around like 8 mugs.
I'll do it. I'll put them in my little Rubbermaid.
You're just gonna carry a tote up 2 floors?
It's 2 floors.
Well, I mean, it's two stories up from the street.
That's rude.
I think there's an elevator though. There's an elevator.
Yeah, we're gonna go in the elevator, obviously. We're not stupid.
Well, I mean, I don't know if the elevator is usually for patrons. I think most people come up the stairs, but it's all right. We'll see lots of folks there.
Yeah.
It'll be
Anyway,
a good time.
we have a fun little question for the first one, I feel like.
Yeah, so it is from Susan's. Seuzens. Susan's. All right. Do you think the majority of Instagram popular potters fire oxidation rather than reduction?
What do you think?
I would say most fire oxidation because there's just
Yeah.
way more oxidation firing. It's more accessible than reduction firing.
For sure. I agree. Especially with all the potters coming up.
Yeah, do you think there's some... I wonder if there's some crossover with like when you're learning and where your marketing skill set and like how in tune you are with social media. I feel like the reduction firing, the wood firing, the gas is very old school.
Yeah,
Not
I
all
agree.
old school, but it's pretty old. Like the past generations, it was more first and foremost, and oxidation was less popular.
Yeah.
And those people may not generally be as good with social media.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's part of it.
Yeah, I think so. And like also I think like quite literally the accessibility is a lot, you know? Like a lot of people won't ever see a gas kiln.
Right.
Like just
And part of that is gas kilns are stupid expensive
yeah.
to have the kiln itself.
Yeah.
And then the logistics of getting it hooked up, like getting gas lines hooked up and all that stuff. Like, how many people have gas kilns at their own houses or studios?
Yeah.
Like, not that many. And those pieces of equipment, like, you're not getting a small gas kiln. Are there small gas kilns?
Yeah, yeah, for sure there are. The one that
Like, you can
Hammerly
buy.
Ceramics has is pretty small.
That's small? That's not small.
Yeah,
That
it
thing's
is.
probably like a ton.
Oh, you're talking like the same size as a regular like oxidation kiln, that kind of small?
I'm thinking like weight as well as cubic feet.
Yes, there are
Like
small ones like
Kurtz is probably like a 15 to 20 cubic foot, I would think.
um I feel like actually L&L Kiln sells gas kilns. Let's look it up. Hotkilns.com.
I actually have not considered that.
Shop kilns. Look at that. Oh wait. Oh, these are electric, but they're front loading.
Yeah,
Wait.
I've seen.
Are they electric?
I feel like we should have known this.
No. This is not a requirement for us. We're
I don't-
learning. So it looks like.
I don't think they have gas kilns.
Yeah, I think those are just humongo electric kilns. Quite literally
Yeah.
humongo electric kilns. But some people do sell gas kilns, and I don't know who they are. But man, these are really cool.
I know Bailey has gas kilns.
Bailey has. Oh, look at the. Did you see the bell lift kilns? Those are fucking dope.
No.
They just go
Are
up
they
and down,
L&L kilns?
up and down. Yeah, they're L&L kilns. They're like so big. Wow. Those would be like for sculptures and stuff. Then you could put sculptures on it, and then you could just lift it over. Wow, that would be nice. Wow. You want to guess how much they are?
Oh, they're like sectional ones? No, I don't. Oh. If it's this one I'm looking at, the lift kiln, is it one of those?
Yeah.
I mean, the ones I'm looking at are like
30,000
30 grand.
$30,000. Holy crap.
But the thing is, some of those sculptures could sell for that much. Like,
Oh, for sure. That's amazing.
but imagine you're making something, you can't. That's one of those you can't lift down into it, so you have to sit it onto.
Yeah. Ooh, the most
Platforms.
expensive one is $74,000, and it's 100 cubic feet.
Oh my gosh.
That's insane. That is fucking insane. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Wow.
Wow, wow.
Man, some of these control boxes are nuts.
It's crazy,
There's your
man.
big boy.
Technology is fucking insane.
Yeah, it's not like a raku kiln where you have it on a pulley, but it's all
Yeah.
gas. So you don't really have to have those electrical connections and making sure they're all right and all that.
Yeah.
Because the thing about the gas kilns are they don't require all the elements and everything, but they need. It's really just insulating
Yeah.
to keep the gas flowing and keep it in a certain area, and then you do the reduction and all that with the firing cycle. But have you ever done gas firing?
Yeah, I did in college.
Okay.
College,
Did you like it?
And then also bruning pottery is gas. And they had a car kiln, like the train ones or whatever, where you push in.
A train kiln, yeah.
Yeah. And then it exploded in there.
Oh my gosh.
Like it straight up exploded inside their studio. And it was inside their studio. So it was
You're talking about it like a wood, but it's not a wood kiln?
No, it was a gas kiln, and they had like the highest ceilings ever, and they built the gas kiln inside the studio, and the flue went up out the top. So the building that they were in used to be a huge barn, and then it got renovated. And then for some reason something happened with the gas kiln and it blew up. Thank God it was at night. It was like at midnight. So nobody was there except for the Brunings who live there. But they live like almost they live far enough away that it wouldn't matter. And then I'm sure insurance covered it. It didn't burn down the whole building, thank God. And then they got 2 kilns to replace the one car kiln they had. So.
Wow. That's crazy.
And they're still inside the building. So. Which I've always thought was a little weird.
Pretty risky.
Yeah.
Did you like the gas results that you had when you did it?
I felt like they had really boring glazes, so it was hard. And they had a ton of them, but they just didn't. I love Chinos, so like I would pretty much only use Chinos, like a carbon trap. Beauty. But yeah, I mean, yes.
John Britt's got some good Chinos.
Oh, for sure. I definitely think that I was like super bummed when I thought that I had to go to electric instead of gas, for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But then like working with electric,
you were like getting a lot of pots under your belt.
Yeah.
At that time, so.
Yeah.
And was it cone 10 or cone 6?
Cone 10.
Cone 10, okay.
Yeah, and like all the pots that went to Starbucks were all cone 10 Shino. Like,
so good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like it was good. I loved it. But I also felt like everybody in the studio was like, ugh, cone 6 is so gross. Like, it doesn't have good glazes at all, which is such bullshit. Like, but that's pretty much
good glazes. That's so subjective.
I know, like running glazes and like beautiful, like, electrical, like not electrical, very chemically induced glazes, and I just feel like that's kind of like the old school attitude towards cone 6. It was like,
yeah.
I
mean, you give it more time and more temperature to have some interesting things happen. Like,
yeah,
with the gas, you've got to be comfortable with the variety and the differences that you're going to get with how you load the kiln is very, very influencing of how the pots are going to turn out, and how you do the body reduction. Like, it's not going to be the same every time, and the only variation you have is how you apply the glaze. Like, the firing itself is a layer of like what unknown there, whereas I mean electric kiln you can get some of that, but it's really just like half a cone difference. It's not, and usually that's if you had an issue go on. It's not something that you can't really simulate reduction in an electric kiln. At least you shouldn't be, because of
Yeah.
the things that are supposed to happen in there, and you'd have to like introduce gas into your kiln to get reduction. Like,
Yeah.
don't really want to be doing that. I was listening to For Flux Sake, and somebody had a question about that, and they were answering it. They were like, "Yeah, you don't want to do that. You can do it, but you don't want to be
You
like
can do it, but you
introducing-
shouldn't.
You don't want to be like introducing gas into your electric kiln and like try like you would want to use a gas kiln for that.
You know, a lot of people have converted electric kilns to gas kilns too.
Right. And soda kilns and things like that where you can do some atmospheric firing. I would love to get to that point. And I'm going to go visit Isaac this summer cuz he's doing that.
Yeah.
Kevin Kowalski's going to come visit. And have you seen Kevin's, he does soda firing and he built a kiln at his house, like a converted kiln.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I would love to do that at the house at some point. I think that would be really fun. Get
Yeah,
an
that would
old
be a
kiln
lot of fun.
body and do the
I
soda
have an
firing.
old
That would
kiln
be-
body if you want me to bring it over to you.
What is it at the studio?
Yeah, it's at our studio. We've been trying to get rid of it forever. And just
How
me and
big is
Sarah are just bad at it. It's a 7 cubic foot.
That's pretty enticing. That might be the size. Don't get rid of it. Like I don't want it right now. Like don't load it up in your vehicle and bring it with you, but
Okay, but I'm
is
getting rid of
enticing.
it in the next couple of months, so you better decide.
oh really? Okay. Oh,
I mean, don't become a kiln hoarder, but we could just shove it in the back behind the shed.
that's true. The shed?
Don't you have a
mean
shed?
behind the shed? Yeah, but the patio is right here.
Good point. Good point. We could put it in the patio.
You'd sit it on the patio. I don't
Touche.
want a kiln yard in the back. I mean,
Kiln
we could put
graveyard?
it we could put it somewhere and cover it in a tarp maybe and make sure it's secured and it's not
Yeah.
going to get weathered, but okay. Yeah, I also think the popular Potter thing, like if you're selling it, there's got to be a sense of reproducibility as well. I think that factors in, oxidation's more reproducible for business.
Not
And you've already-
necessarily.
You don't think so?
No. All the production
What?
potters, like all the old school production potters, were all gas.
I'm saying these days, if you're a popular Instagram potter,
Oh, yes.
you rely on some of that consistency when you're selling your pieces, that electric firings can be easier to give you.
Yes. You're correct.
And like, yeah, I don't know. Are there, well, I know Kurt does it because he has the gas kiln, but are there many people? There's probably a lot of people that gas fire, they still have a bisque firing in their electric kiln. So,
Yeah, so Bruning Pottery had a huge gas kiln, and then they had like 2 or 3 bisque kilns that were...
yeah. So you're already loading bisque kilns with, you're already loading an oxidation kiln for bisque.
Yeah.
So,
But like for Kurt, it's cheaper for him to fire the
right,
gas.
because of the turnaround time is so
Yeah,
efficient.
yeah.
And there's like more complexity. Like it's just so much easier to set it and forget it. You know?
So easy. Yeah.
All right, good first question. Do we want to talk about, before we book in the kiln thing, do we want to talk about L&L real quick?
Yeah. Since we're talking
All right.
about kilns.
L&L, it kind of relates to what we just talked about, but the zone control is what we've been talking about recently. And they just updated their site about this to explain it a little bit better. And what we've talked about before is, most kilns that you have, electric kilns, are going to have one thermocouple. So limitation there is one thermocouple. You might get elements that are specifically, they have to be put in certain spots of the kiln when they're installed so that they can adjust, and some elements give more power and less power depending on what part of the kiln they're in, if they're in the top, middle, bottom. But with the zone control, of the L&L, it's got each section or each zone has its own thermocouple that corresponds with it. So the controller can auto adjust the element output based on what the thermocouple's reading, so that you get a more consistent firing overall. That's kind of the main features of it.
Yeah.
And your Konar is like, it's like right in the middle, right? Your thermocouple.
I have 3.
Oh, you do have 3. Okay.
Not all kilns. I would say I'd say 50-50. Like Scuts usually only have 1 thermocouple. Olympic usually have 1. L&L has 3. And what I was gonna say was that what's fun and cool about the zone control is that and for anybody that has zone control now, you can see the different temperature if you are just firing, you can hit the 1, 2, or 3, and 1 is usually the top, 2 is the middle, and then 3 is the bottom. So you can actually see the different temperatures of each zone, which is kind of a nice trick to know, and fun and easier to kind of see oh, is my especially when you're cooling down, you can be like, oh, is the top cooler than the middle? Is the bottom cooler, hotter than the top? So you can, push it a little bit farther. But that's what I've always loved about the zone control. And it's easier to tell, I really like the fact that, it's pretty easy to change out the thermocouples according to which zone. Which thermocouple you need to change out,
Right. Yeah, because it's got the error codes depending on which one. So I think at one point one of them got disconnected and it errored out, and then it said there's some error code for thermocouple, and it calls out thermocouple 2 or whatever.
Right.
So you know that there's something wrong with that specific one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's gonna stop it. It's not just gonna keep going and mess something up, because
right.
You're not supposed to be firing it with issues like that. So, yeah. And then also it mentions about the uneven kiln loading. So I do a lot of, sometimes if you load your kiln really dense in certain areas, if you only have the 1 thermocouple, it's reading as best it can in that spot. But if it's more dense and getting hotter in a certain area, or it's more airy and it's hotter in that other area, the thermocouple can only do so much, and with having the 3 thermocouples, it is pretty evenly spread and it can adjust. So besides just, hey, what's the temperature here, you can load your kiln a little more flexibly, if that's the right word.
Yeah, sure.
However you want. So
yeah, I mean, I've loaded my kiln basically half full, and the firing has come out great. Sometimes when you have zone control, sometimes just generally, I'm sure you'll get to this at some point in your life, probably not soon, but where you just need to fire 10 pieces, and you'll put all your pieces in your L&L, and then you'll be like, well, hopefully this fires well, and because it's zone controlled, it will. So
there you go. And we were looking on here earlier, but hotkilns.com, it's where you find all this info. Look at your kilns like we were earlier. Look at the resources. Learn about zone control.
Hotkilns.com, where you find the hot kilns. We're going to
see them at NSECA next week.
Okay, I'm still working on the jingle.
Yeah. You said hotkilns.com.
Hotkilns.com. Please find our hot kilns. No. Hotkilns.com. Where the kilns are.
The other tag was
hot.
the durable kiln that potters trust to fire evenly and consistently. Find your L&L kilns at hotkilns.com. So maybe there's some short jabs there that you can say about
yeah, I'll figure it out.
Durability.
I'll get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll get it. Well, that'll be our NSECA goal.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, we'll work on a jingle. Okay.
All right, we have another question. Do you want to read the next question? This one's about pricing, and they're going to kind of relate the last two
Yeah.
because I feel like pricing is always a good topic to discuss.
I think that pricing's the topic that never goes away. Um, okay.
Yeah, it's always relevant.
Yeah, for sure. It says, "Hi guys, question for the show. How do you guys handle pricing for larger orders in comparison to wholesale? For example, an order for 30 to 50 mugs for a restaurant to use. It's not wholesale, but that large of an order seems like it would warrant a discount from standard retail price. What do you guys think? Thank you. Love the show. You keep me company in my studio on a daily basis. The Pottery Mason. I feel like this is like a question that I'll never know the answer to fully, but I can guess, you know?
Yeah, I've never actually sold anything to a restaurant. I've only the closest I've done is sell it to like coffee shops, but they're wholesaling it, so they're not using it in their rotation for customers to use. And actually, that makes me think that I want to get insight from somebody locally that I know, and they're actually doing a talk at Ensika about small production of restaurant orders.
Huh.
So it's Bethany Kramer and Christy Goodfield. They're doing a talk about it. So offline, I kind of want to talk to one of them and see if I can either chat with them about restaurant orders and handling that. I think that'd be kind of interesting to talk about. So I've never done a restaurant order. Have you done a restaurant order where somebody uses it like that? It sounds like you might not have.
I mean, I did. I made stuff for the pizza place, but like, you know, for Bridget's
And they
Pizza
used
Shop,
it like
and they
plates and
used
whatnot?
it. Yeah, but like, I feel like that was different because we always traded for food.
Right. And you had a relationship with them.
Like,
So.
yeah, and it wasn't like an external relationship. I would say if I was just like going at a, you know, if I was just kind of like cruising along and somebody asked me this question, I'd be like, I charge 25% off. Like, I wouldn't do 50% for sure.
That sounds reasonable.
I'd probably stick with 25. And like, but also I think that you're completely valid in saying, no, you have to do the whole price. Because I think that
We've talked about it before. It's not easier to
it's
make
not
30 of
easier.
something versus
yeah.
10 of something or 2 of something.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was at that show in Seattle that I did, and the lady next to me, somebody asked if she did bulk discounts, and she reminded me a lot of my mother. She was like, "Nope," like super flat out. She was like, "Nope, it's not easier for me to do more." And I was like, "Yes, bitch." So yeah, I would say if you want to give a discount, do 25%. Now, this is what I would also say. If you're going to do something like this, definitely work in the contract that you get some free food. Like, if it's local, you know?
Kind of, yeah.
Like
some
a
kind of
punch
relationship
card
that you...
system or something, you know? Like...
How would you negotiate that? What do you negotiate? Is it like a monthly thing?
Okay.
Or is it like a standing reservation?
This is what I would do. This is what I would do. I would say, hey, okay, let's say you're going to do 50 mugs, and this is a coffee shop, okay? 50 mugs at $20 a piece. This is not realistic. We're just using really easy numbers here. So that's $1,000, right? So, and I would go to the coffee shop and say, here's the deal. I will make you the 50 mugs for $750 if you give me a $250 credit for coffee.
Why would you do that?
Because
you're saying okay, I got you.
So it equals $1,000.
Getting it in coffee credit.
Yeah, and you're taking that discount and you're getting it in coffee credit. And now that coffee costs them very little money. And so, or you could even do it more, right? Like $700 and you do $250 in coffee, right? So you live $50 kind of like floating out in the middle. But like, that's probably what I would do. Be like, hey, are you interested in somewhat of a trade for this restaurant situation? Because then
Given
everybody
that you
wins.
like it, I mean, what if you don't?
If you
I mean,
don't
I would
like
assume
it,
you would have some kind of relationship with it. You could find something that you could eat from.
like we're talking about if it's like local, right? I mean, but seriously, for
Right.
sure, I've traded with a lot of restaurants, and that's the way to go. Like,
Is that your starting bid? Is you go in with the restaurant credit?
no, no, no. You say, I would say, yeah, I'd love to make 50 mugs for you. Are you interested in paying full price of these, or would you like to do trade for the partial credit?
Trade for partial credit? You
Or
mean a
for,
discount?
yeah, a trade for the
A
discount. Yeah.
discount? Yeah, how would you word that? It's not necessarily a discount because they're still paying the money, but it's kind of like
Or you could go in and say,
they're giving you
or
a gift card, sort of.
I'd love to give you I'd love to give you a 30% discount if you wanted to comp that in food costs, like in future
Ooh.
food costs.
And the thing is, you're gonna show that your product is in the business, and then you're also gonna show that you like the product that they sell as coffee.
Yeah.
So it's a reciprocal thing here.
And at that point, then you just kind of like create some sort of gift certificate / thing. And then when you go in, you show the employees and then they mark down how much it is and it takes it off. And
Yeah. Could you imagine going into a coffee shop with a gift card that's like $250 on it? It's like, all right, that'll be $5. Here's my gift card for $250. I mean, hopefully they have gift card, like physical cards, and not just like paper. Here's my gift certificate.
the amount of credit that I've had at coffee shops is unbelievable, honestly.
But is it an actual number, or is it just a standing?
No, no, no. Like, I used to sell coffee cups to this one restaurant, and we just traded, and it would be like $200 that was on my tab. Oh, Ryan's earphones died.
They're not dead yet, but they're getting close to it here.
Way to go. But yeah, so that's probably what I would say. That's the best of both worlds there, in my opinion. But
The what about the number of them? Does that factor into your discount offer at all?
no,
Let's say they're not on the table for the trade discount thing.
I'd still do
If
like
they said
30,
they want 30
25%.
versus 50, is it still 25 straight across the board?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what I would do.
And then the idea is, if you get this and you hit it out of the ballpark, people break mugs all the time.
Yeah,
people
that's
break.
Well, that's the thing about
work,
restaurants
so-
is that it's not a wholesale gig, but it kind of is because they're going to break their dishes.
Yeah,
Where'd you go?
there's going to be product lost
There
in
we
there. Some.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
We forgot to record the Skype too, by the way. So.
oh, way to go. The one time that we were like, this might work. And whoops.
Maybe that's why it's working so well, because we don't have to
Maybe.
have it recording in the background.
Maybe. Yeah, so that's what I would say. I don't know. Do you have any opinions about
Would you be open? Would you be open to that in the future at some point? Like, do you think you would ever do that?
make pots
A
for restaurants?
order like that?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, man.
Yeah, and then the thing is, that's also going to test how durable your work is, because they're using it so much.
Using and abusing. For sure.
And then you also might need to adjust some of your process so that it's, maybe you leave that pot a little thicker.
Oh yeah.
Leave that bottom a little thicker. You make sure that handle is nice and sturdy. It's not super fragile and thin. And
Yeah, those plates definitely need to be a little bit thicker than you normally would. Yeah. Yep.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I'd be open to that at some point. I have not been approached. You always get those comments at shows about people interested in dinnerware sets and things like that. I did recently deliver a dinnerware set. to a local customer, and she was very pleased with it.
Nice.
It was a 4 tumbler, 4 bowl, cereal bowl, 4 side plate, and 4 dinner plate.
Nice.
So
I'm gonna open up place settings again. I probably should do it now and see if anybody wants them. But I really like doing place settings because it kind of like tests your skill a bit. You know, everything does have to
for
be
being able to reproduce something,
Mhm.
or
Yeah, I mean, even though I'm a production potter, it's still like, it's good to like have exercises in. Oh, all of these have to be the same. You know.
hmm
So, yeah.
yeah, I threw tumblers for her for the first time because I was wondering if she wanted tumblers or mugs, and she went tumblers. I really liked them. I haven't thrown tumblers in forever because they just generally don't sell. You got to put a handle on it and it'll sell.
I think you
But
should do a thumb indent tumbler, and you're gonna sell the shit out of those.
okay, I mean they were thinner, so they weren't too wide.
Yeah.
But my hands can fit them around them obviously. But I and they're angled just slightly outward, so they're a nice proportion, and you got that texture on the out. They're so nice. So, and then another customer got the remaining 6 that I made. I think I made
Nice.
10 or 12 of them, and somebody else got a pack of 6 of tumblers, so she was happy with those as well. But yeah, maybe we'll get that local person on, and we'll chat about the restaurant orders, because I'm curious about that. What kind of work goes into contracts, and maybe just how do you find places and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oof.
All right. Anything else on that question?
I think we're good.
All right. Do you want to read the next one while I swap out my earphone battery here?
I knew you were gonna do that to me. It's the longest question on the planet. Okay. It's totally fine, by the way. Okay. It says, Ryan, I am a small ceramics maker. In Wheel Talk, have you covered pricing and working side by side with makers, ceramicists, etc.? Not necessarily all together. I ask because I've just started and shown at holiday fairs, ceramic art shows, and makers fairs, and I found the vendors can be very different and pricing can be so different. For instance, selling a mug at a holiday show at 25 to 40 might be the norm, and then a maker fair it might be 40 to 70. And then a ceramic art fair might be different. I ask because I showed recently and have had to lower prices in the past. $25 to $35 mugs, and vendors didn't. Okay. I ask because I
Vendors didn't like
showed
that at all.
recently and have had to lower prices in the past. 25 to 35 mugs, and vendors didn't like that at all. A few even came up to me to complain about it. Obviously, there's a touch of imposter syndrome, and I need to value my work at a higher rate. Sorry for the long rant, but wondering if you have ever covered these topics in your podcast. At Bruce Long, it's Leong.
Yeah.
And first
Bruce
of all,
just bought something from me, actually.
First of all, those motherfuckers that came up to you complain need to mind their own fucking business.
Yeah.
Because screw them.
People. Yeah. Who are you to be like, hey, get it together here?
Yeah.
You should look up his Instagram.
I'm looking at.
He's got little cats and stuff.
Okay, so, oh my god, they're fucking cute as shit. Ah!
And then I think he has a cat Instagram as well that he is his business account, because he shared something today to me, and it was from that account.
Oh my god.
It's Papoku_ceramics, I believe, is the other one, maybe. Yeah,
Very
nice looking
cool.
stuff.
Very cool. I love these little cat jars. So that's Bruce Long with Leong. Bruce.Long. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that however you price your things, you should price your things however you want to price them. But I don't know. You were talking to him, so what did you kind of
Yeah,
say?
he wrote me back, and I gave him a kind of an audio message back, and was talking about. I pretty much said, set your price and make sure that you can make a profit at whatever price that you set. You shouldn't feel like you need to change it depending on the venue and the setting that you're in and the company that you're in and all that stuff. You need to set it and forget it. Obviously, you can change it over time, but I would not be changing it from show to show.
Yeah. I think the only time this is an exception is if you are adding in shipping somewhere. Like I'm on Etsy and I have my things a few dollars higher because I've added in shipping. But that's probably the only exception. But I think definitely keeping a streamlined cost is a good idea.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you're like positive and you're so set and secure that this is the exact price that you should be charging for the thing. Like, just be confident in whatever you're choosing and go with it.
Yeah.
And if you need to, like early on, I was probably undervaluing my pieces for sure. And my mugs probably started at like $18. They were freaking cheap, or 20, like
same.
So cheap. And then you partially price it that way because you want to get the sales. You feel good about getting something out the door. You get it sold, and then on to the next piece. So for one thing, it's clearing off your shelves. It's getting pieces out of your life into customers' lives, getting it there, and then you're also getting your skills improved over time. So
yeah.
I always look at it supply and demand, and as I get better, I'm going to increase my prices because the quality is getting better, but I'm also feeling more confident about the customers that I'm selling to and that I'm in the right places where I'm selling it so that my price is legitimized a little bit more and it matches the quality that I'm putting out there. That's the kind of the way I look at it. I don't think it's always useful to just look at other people at the shows that you're doing and compare what your prices are to theirs.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, you could have somebody who thinks they're hot shit and be selling their stuff for like super tons of money, and their value to you is not as good as they're selling to. That was a jumble of words, but like, you have people that...
And there's just so many things that go into pricing anybody's work.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like, but you have people that, like, have their stuff for a ton of money that may not be worth that money to you. And then you have people that don't have their things for a ton of money that may be worth way more. Like, it's up to the individual how they price their things. There's nothing in our society that says you have to price a certain way. There's a guy in California that doesn't even sell his cups. He gives them away for free. You have to go to one of his shows to do that, but I can't remember his name. Oh, God. Anyway.
Wow.
Oh, I have...
And you can also...
Yeah, they're amazing.
Depending on the shows that you're in, like one person could make 200 pieces in a year, and they sell them all for $50, and somebody could make 400 pieces in a year and sell them all for $25. Like,
you're still selling
the
same amount. You could both
sell the same number of pieces and make the same amount of money. It's just like, finding the customers that will buy them at that price, and a lot of the price is gonna you have to find the market for it. So are there people willing to spend that price that you have set? So a lot of it is market research on, are you in the right shows? Are you in the right businesses? If you're selling, consignment or wholesale, do you have your stuff in the right places where those customers are going to be that match that like cross section of liking your work? So obviously the price is one variable, but how you come to that price is very it's very specific to the individual. Like, if it's me, I can afford to charge less for stuff because I don't require that and rely on that for my living. somebody else, like, they have to price it because they have to value their time and pay themselves a certain amount hourly and like cover their costs and the travel, because everything is dependent on that income. I don't have those requirements, so I can afford to charge less for things.
Yeah.
That's one variable. And then there's other people that have a lot more expenses. Like maybe they live in a different city that costs a lot more.
Yeah.
Or they rent studio space, or they pay for firing, so their operation and overhead is a lot more, so they have to charge more. Or maybe you're retired and you don't need the money and you're just doing it for the enjoyment, and then you sell the pieces
For sure
that you have, but you don't really care for, is this at market for what I'm charging for it?
Right.
You don't really care that much about it. It's more like it's a very narrow like focus for you. Maybe you're like, I have 50 pieces on my shelf. I don't have room to do anything with them, so I need to sell them.
Right.
So you charge it at a price that people will buy it.
Yeah, I mean, pricing's so freaking hard, but I think that the base is that it doesn't really matter what other people are doing. You have to think about your own pieces. Now, getting other people's opinions that you trust to give you an honest opinion, not just like a cheap opinion or whatever, that's one thing. But like, make sure you're pricing your pieces so that if you had to sell them wholesale, you would still make money. And make sure you're calculating in your time.
Yeah, we talked about the time calculations semi-recently. I think that was with Andrew, right?
Yeah.
Like actually getting to and understanding how much time you're actually spending on pieces, and that's narrowing it down as much as prepping your clay, throwing on the wheel, trimming it, if you want to count the loading in and out of the kiln, if you got any decoration that you're doing before you put it in the kiln or after you take it out of the bisque kiln.
Yeah.
And then the glazing. Like, you've got to narrow it down all of those steps and actually get a figure of how much time you're spending, because there's so many steps along the way. I've just completely ignored that to this point because I just don't want to get that nitty gritty with it. But if you truly want to look at it from a business standpoint, like, you kind of need to know those numbers.
Yeah.
For one, that should totally influence what you price the piece, but also if you want to work on profit, like which pieces give you the most profit based on the price that you're charging, and which pieces can you get out the door easier. Like, there might be decisions that you make of, okay, I can only sell this piece if I price it at $25, but I might only make a 25% profit on it at $25, whereas these other pieces I make and I can charge $35 for it, and I can make a 50% profit margin. Like, then it might make more sense that you focus on the pieces that are higher priced, that you can crank out easier, you make way more profit on. And like, mugs are pretty, and also the level of like what people like to buy. Like, mugs are one of those things that, you're always going to have an audience for mugs, I think.
I think everybody buys mugs.
Yeah. Whereas you could say, well, I'm not going to sell mugs. Like, as long as you're fine that, like, that's a thing that you're potentially missing out on. But if you need that as like a bread and butter thing, and it gives you freedom to price other things differently, like if you have to price everything else a little higher because you rely on that for that profit margin, then you just have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Read the rest of this here.
I think I just heard a gunshot. Lloyd just sat up.
I think I remember another thing I talked to him about when I responded. You need if you're doing a lot of shows, you need to be very aware of and take note, whether you take physical notes or just mental notes when you're at a show. And you could look at some of these analytics after the fact, but like keeping track of what the average price point that people are spending. And if you use Square, that'll give you the analytics. So understanding how much people are spending, what that sweet spot is for people.
Yeah.
And especially if you're doing that show again and again, it gives you a better idea of what should be focal on your table. If the price point is $35 and you have a table filled with $60 things, like maybe lessening the visibility of the $60 things a little bit and getting a little more focus on the things that are kind of in that sweet spot might lead to more sales.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just need to talk about the pieces in a different way so that you can make a few more $60 sales. But that's another thing that I mentioned that was, I will change my booth a little bit depending on the show that I'm at. Like, I don't know, I'm sure at your farmers markets there were things that you left at home, right?
Oh, yeah. For sure. For sure. I'm not going to take all of my shit to the farmer's market. Like, I'm not going to take the fancy stuff. Nobody's going to buy those.
And did you need to go through a few farmers markets to know to leave those home, or did you, like, you've done
I feel like I've done it enough. I feel like I've done it enough that it was like, you kind of just know. But yeah, definitely like the lower end shows, like you're gonna, like, if I know that I'm gonna have no problem selling wine glasses as opposed to fancy cups, I'm gonna take all wine glasses because they're $30, But if I'm, if I'm gonna go to a more of an upper class kind of show, then I'm gonna take my fancy cups. So I'll just leave some things out. And now I'll still take some of the fancy stuff, but I'm not going to focus on that.
Right. And there's also some shows that I think that Off Market maybe, or some of the, maybe West Side, you had earrings, but they're clay earrings. So they're kind of competitive with other jewelry.
Yeah.
But the jewelry selection there was generally a lower price jewelry that was not clay. So
yeah.
That's also a factor, that if you sell things that are kind of associated with other vendors that are there and your price point as the high end of that, that has to be also a factor of managing your expectations. It doesn't mean that your pieces are worth less money because you have to meet the market of everybody else around you, but
you have to read the room. You got to read the room. That's it.
Yeah, you wouldn't have wanted to change your prices of your earrings just because the show that you were at.
No.
It doesn't change the value of what those earrings are worth.
There's always going to be your crowd someplace,
Yeah. Would you have done something if you knew, if you were to do that show again and you knew that was the audience you would have been in? Would you have done something like a earring deal or something, so that maybe they save a little bit of money, but they have to buy 2 pair?
Yeah.
Something to incentivize people a little bit, rather than just comparing it 1-to-1 with, I can get those earrings over there or I can get these earrings here. There's something that incentivizes sales a little more, that you might have to work a little harder at that show.
I think I do maybe do a sale, but I haven't done a sale in a show, at a show, for a while. So,
do you sell things in batches for a discount at all? 2 for something?
I used to do 4 for $60 for the wine glasses, which is quite literally no money at all. And and those used to sell really well as 4. So I like to do sets of 4, because then people are like, oh, I'll just get 4. I noticed that Deanna does 2 for something, 2 for $30 or something like that, and she sells a lot of two pairs. So That's a good route.
Because like right now you're doing mystery boxes online.
Yeah.
Would you consider doing something like that a little less? Like you're doing like 4 pair or something. Would you do something less than that at a show if you really wanted to like get rid of stock, or
Maybe.
like what would lead you to make that decision?
Desperation.
like is it like excess of work, or is it, hey, this is one of my last shows of the year, I need to get rid of stock?
I think it's more that. It's more that than like, yeah, then I have too much
what
work.
are the opportunities?
But I should definitely do mystery earring boxes. I didn't think about that doing it at a show, and I definitely fucking should.
Would you do that? Would you want them to pick their own though? Or would you completely mystery it and like wrap them up so they have no idea what they're getting?
No, I'd mystery it just like you do. But make it a
okay.
really fucking good deal.
And the thing is, they know people that they can gift those earrings to if they really don't like them. Like if it's a good enough deal.
Yeah. But
and they can see the earrings right there. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you do it? Like what would you do, like 3 pair? Something that
I'd probably do 3 big pairs and 1 stud. That's what I usually do.
3 big pairs and a stud.
So essentially what I usually do is I do 2 pairs that are like worth value to me, and then 1 pair that I'm not selling well. So I'll do like 1 pair of like the discs, you know, that didn't sell very well, and then I'll do 2 hoops.
The discs with the dots and the kind of interesting background.
Yeah, like those sell better in person than like online or anything like that. But yeah, so I'll just throw in a hoop, or a stud. And then, and that's it. So there's technically 4 pairs, but usually the studs are like ones that I really don't want in my collection. Mm-hmm. So, and it's not that they're not bad. It's just that I've gone through so many different varieties of studs to finally get to one that I liked, that we're finally there. So
people love the mystery thing. Like some people are like gravitating to it, and they'll like circle it and be like, mystery? What's in there? How many pieces are in there? And they like pick it up and feel it.
Yeah.
I feel like the earrings could be interesting. Like, would you consider doing it I choose for you and they don't see what you choose?
I think that what I saw is next to me at one of the shows, I saw somebody like describe it. So it was like, oh, you're a fun-loving Miss Frizzle type teacher. You know, I think that I would do that, where I'd like write a little description on the box, like love color, blah, 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 blah. Or like, I'm a neutral queen, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
At a show I did, there was a vendor a couple down from me. I think I might have told you this. They sell books.
Oh, yeah.
And they wrote the short description about the book.
Yeah.
And it was wrapped up in paper, so it was a mystery book.
For sure. That's
a way that you don't have to discount your work, but it gives a little something different.
Yeah.
That could entice people. That's like, hey, this is a one-time only thing. Maybe you don't make it so. Like the mystery boxes, I only bring them to shows either when I'm trying to get rid of some stock, or I know that I have enough table space that I can dedicate a little bit to it, and some people might be interested. Like, I wouldn't take the mystery boxes to my spring fair show, my spring pottery fair show, where it's all potters there. Like, people shopping at that show are not trying to get more pottery of just random stuff. Like, they're trying to curate a very specific piece that they're looking for.
Right.
And they're not going to just...
They're like collectors.
Buy it because they want more pottery.
Yeah. For sure.
So, okay.
Oh, that's a bit... I feel like that's the first big yawn I've done in a while on the podcast.
You yawned earlier, but we couldn't hear it.
I try to keep it quiet because I get razzed about it sometimes. It's chill. It's pretty chilly in here. I was gonna get a blanket, but their blankets are all over on the bed, and then I put the toolbox on the bed, and so I won't be able to get the blanket. And
yeah, that would cause a little commotion.
I wish Lloyd was a lap cat, because then he would snuggle up on my lap.
Yeah. Would you ever consider changing prices if you were in like a completely different state selling?
No.
Like, would you have done, like in Washington, would you have changed your prices a little bit? Because you're so like you're not going to cross paths with people that are used to seeing your work.
No,
in
because
Indianapolis, for
I
instance?
like my prices. Me and my prices have been like in a relationship for a while, and we're like good now. You know, like I feel like the prices that you put on your pots is like a relationship. You like have to wrestle with it, and you have to like go back and forth with it, and like at some point you just have to decide that that's it. You know?
Mm-hmm. There's something about pricing things where nobody is completely satisfied on both ends of it.
Yeah.
Where the customer pays a little more than they want to pay, and you don't get as much as you wanted out of it.
Yeah.
So it's like a sweet spot of, both sides it has to be a little uncomfortable on both sides for it to be a good
match. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
Something about that with negotiations, I don't know. There's nobody that gets an obvious, like,
Yeah.
clear favorite here.
For
But
sure.
it's the best when people just don't even say anything, and they're just like, I want this one. Like, they don't even look at the price. Like, there's some customers that'll pick a thing out, and it's like a fancy, I don't know, have you had that with fancy cups that they pick it, and they're like, I want this one. And then you're like, do you know the price? And they're like, yeah, here, I'll take it.
Oh my God, that's happened like so many times with the fancy cups, and I'm like, because I'm so obvious about how like disgusted I am with how expensive they are. So I'm like, did you check the price? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay. But I think that also, I love it when that happens, but I love it more when somebody's like, oh, I only budgeted this much, I'm gonna do it. You know, like when they're like, I'm gonna do it.
Like they really struggled to make the decision because of their budget, and then they're like, it's worth it?
Yeah.
Does that validate you more?
Yeah, they're like, it's worth it, I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Got in the
Nice.
frugal
Do you ever feel
budget.
bad about that to certain people, where it's like, ooh,
sometimes I
like
tell
you're not
them
breaking their budget for the month or something. Like if they're even thinking about that,
Right.
this is none of my budget. Like if you're coming in and you know that you have a budget, at least you're restraining yourself somewhat.
like I had a friend that was like, I want to buy some of your cups for my mom for her birthday, and I was like, no, you don't. I was like, nope, not gonna let you do that, because I know that she's struggling, like, you know, like we're all struggling financially, but like, you know, I knew that it wouldn't be smart for her, so I was like, nope, you're not supporting me today, thank you. Like
Yeah.
And
it's like her supporting you is going to set her back a little bit more than she should be.
yeah,
So like making the right decision.
yeah,
Like
but
she
and
can
I
support you without paying you money for it, and
yeah, and
kinda-
I've gotten a little better at
you
it
can-
shows.
cash that in someday.
Yeah. I've gotten a little better at it at shows, like where I'm instead of being like, are you sure? Like sometimes I'll be like, are you sure? Like, you know, I don't want you to make a bad decision. A decision that you're going to regret.
It's just a change in tone there, like you just did.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Have you had people back up from that at all?
No, not much. Oh, this is a fun one. So, I did that Hotel Tango show, which is at like a distillery, and it was absolute trash. But one group came, and this guy was like going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And he actually bought a cup my last update, and he texted me or messaged me and was like, I saw you such a long time ago, and I couldn't, I really wanted it, and I regretted not getting it, and now I'm doing it. And I was like, oh, that's sweet.
That's nice that they at least like kept in touch, you know?
Yeah.
That's one of those that like, oh, let me get your card, and it goes in the trash, like when they
Yeah.
get home. But he actually like,
Yeah.
that's one of those where you get those little
Nudge.
like little taps here and
Yeah.
there, little nudges over time where he sees your post, he sees your work, he's, he has that memory from where he didn't get it before, and then
Yeah.
just that consistency of getting in front of somebody over and over and over. It's not wears you down, but it like gets you more comfortable with making that decision.
For sure. For sure. I think I think we should end pretty soon because it's fucking freezing here and I want to get under my blankets. I think that when you're pricing stuff, you should be comfortable. Like, it should be one of those things where you're like, yeah, that's my price. Instead of like, this is my price. Like, when you're saying like, yeah, it's $34 for that spoon rest, and you're like fucking confident, even though like this is just hypothetical, that's the price that it should be, Like, I know that Val and I have struggled with this. Well, for Val, because her stuff takes a fair amount of time, and she's like, no, this fucking tiny ass cup is $34. And I'm like, you go, bitch. Just do it.
Yeah.
When you're confident, that's when it should be. And it's a journey to get confident about it, but is
there different confidences? Is it like confidence in your skill and your craft versus like confidence in selling and customer service? Because I think there's kind of two differences there, where you can be confident in your craft, where you know how much time it takes and how much effort and how much work you put into it, and the decisions you've made to get to that point of how you really wanted that piece to look.
Yeah.
Like, that's a confidence. And then there's a confidence in how you communicate with customers, because you've done so much of this back and forth dance with people.
Yeah.
Of, would you go 28 instead of 35 on that? Or, if you've gone through that, you get a little more confidence as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's both. Yeah.
And I'm sure we've all sold things cheaper than we wanted. Like,
For sure.
It's not like you can't. I also think you have to be open to discounting if you want. Like, feel like it's your decision to do it. Like, don't feel like you're pressured into it.
Yeah.
Because then after the fact, you're like, I shouldn't have done that, or like I shouldn't have, because it's kind of building I want to say like a callus, but it's building a comfortability that you have with like discounting your work.
Yeah.
If you're willing to do it here, then are you willing to do it again? And like, what are the situations when you're willing to go down on your price, where if you're more confident in it and you just like, no, that's what I'm going to do. Like, this is what's going to happen. If somebody asks for a discount or something, like, you just be firm with it. Or, if it's a past customer, I'm not really going to get past customers that'll ask about a discount, but maybe if they're getting multiple pieces, if they get like 4 things, maybe I'll discount them a few bucks. Like,
yeah,
hey, I know they've come back to me. I always give them $5 off for 30 or whatever. I give them a coupon every time they come to the booth, and if they come see me in the future, I'm like, hey, I would respect this discount if they brought me the coupon back. I know that they're a repeat customer.
Yeah.
Like, I'm willing to give them $5 off if they're getting stuff, but I'm not going to discount them like $20 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I've also sold pieces at a bigger discount. Like, if they're a good, like, smooth talker a little bit, like, I've discounted that. Like,
for sure.
When they've got their cash there ready and they're like, would you do 75? And you're like, yes. Like, a piece. And also, it's like, there's some pieces that have been around a bit. Like, I'm willing to discount certain things if I want to get it out of my life as well.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
So that's for sure a factor. It's not just my price is my price is my price. Like, there's some pieces I just don't want to take home anymore.
Right. Like, I've literally handed pieces to people and been like, please take this. Just take it. Just please take it.
Like, when they're thinking about buying it, or at the end of the day when you're
at the end of
next to somebody.
At the end of the day, oh my God. Like, at the end of my show in Seattle, I was like, please, anybody around here, do you guys want some wine glasses? Just take these fucking
wine
glasses.
That's like going to a show I would go to some shows and there's like a bread guy.
Yes.
He's got bread. He's just walking around with bread. You're just walking around with wine glasses. Anybody want a wine glass?
Yeah.
Like they're gonna go bad.
Please take them. Yeah, for sure.
Take a wine glass.
Yep.
All right, a lot of pricing today.
A lot of pricing. So much pricing. All right. All of my lights have gone out. They're all very dim.
Yes. You actually have lights on besides your computer right now?
Yeah, unfortunately. There's like a
It's so
really
dark.
small light up on the ceiling, and then there's a really, 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 like, it's the same light, but it's really dim because I accidentally left it on all night last night over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to get some of those ones that you get at Home Depot that just stick on and they're huge and they're battery powered. That's what I want.
We have the ones in our bathroom down here that are motion sensor. They're pretty bright. They run off 3 AA's.
Yeah, that's the ones I was talking about. Oh, and don't forget to give...
They're LEDs.
I gotta give you that LED light. It's up there. It's tucked behind.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I have it. I've been waiting to give it to you.
Okay. I'll probably put it in the garage because we have barely any light in there.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Okay.
Cool. Well, go team.
Sweet. Everybody gets some mystery boxes from Becca. The earrings. I'm sure those will still be out there.
Ooh.
I feel like they're your long standing.
Yeah. I will say, if you want to help me out, you could, and you want to buy some studs. Like, you don't have to buy studs, but like maybe go and favorite my Etsy shop. That would be nice.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be a nice gesture to just go and favorite some items in the Etsy store to get them bumped up a little.
There you go.
Yeah.
Having long-standing Etsy listings helps for sure.
Yeah.
And the tags. I think you went through tags and keywords and stuff like that too, right?
I don't know. Andrew did it.
Did you do that with Andrew? Okay. Yeah.
He just took my computer and was
Alrighty.
like, here you go. Always have a friend like Andrew.
Well, at least you can copy and pay, like copy those listings and everything just stays there. That
so nice.
makes it super efficient.
So nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, see y'all later.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for listening. We will catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Yo, higgity yo. It's Becca here. Hey, just so you know, thank you for listening. And also, we have... What do we have again? A Patreon. We have a Patreon that you should go, and if you want to donate to, you could donate to it. If you don't, that's cool too. But just Google Wheel Talk Podcast Patreon. Don't do the other one, because there is a Wheel Talk on Patreon, but it's not us. So make sure you get the right one. It's in the show notes. And also, leave us a review because they're fun to read. Okay, bye.